How to set Manchester United up in Football Manager 2026. Today we're going to be looking at formations, tactics, player instructions, and of course transfers to help you guys win the lot as Man United manager. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe, like the video. But anyway, let's get this party started. So diving into the save, Manchester United's board have got some pretty reasonable expectations. Qualification for the Europa League. I think I'll take that in terms of the budget that you get to spend in that first season. Of course, remember that Manchester United have bought the likes of Benjamin Sesko, Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha. You've only got around £13 million. But in terms of the wages, it's around £4.3 million per week. So there is a discrepancy in terms of current spending. So you've got around £500,000 that we could build our budget up to around 30 million. A lot more than 13, but we'll have a look at that later on. So let's dive into the big thing of Football Manager and the big improvements of the game this season. That, of course, is the tactics. The tactics have massively been improved. This is a big thing that I've wanted in and out of possession tactics for a while, to allow you to build the perfect setup. For Manchester United, I think there's a load of different ways you could go. Gegenpressing, obviously a very successful and dominant strategy in the world of football, but also Football Manager, that intensity to win the ball back, unsettle your opposition and create chances. For United, you could simply go 4-2-3-1. In possession, out of possession, go 4-4-1-1. Again, good systems for the players that United have got. In terms of building this tactic out, if you want to just stick to a really simple Gegenpressing approach to dominate European football very early doors, you want to go with two fullbacks, two defensive midfielders, two ball-playing centre-backs to really get the best out of your defensive line. You want two inside forwards that can operate in the inside channel and be goal scorers. You want to play a player in a free role behind a central striker. And for Manchester United, I'd really recommend either going with a false nine if you want to play Matheus Cunha, or a target man, or a target forward, should I say, if you're playing with Benjamin Sesko. This setup would really work for Manchester United. You know, just looking at the squad that United have got, this kind of is a formation and a tactic that would allow you to kind of plug it in and play. You know, with United, looking at Diogo Dalot at right back, you know, Lenny Yoro, Matheus de Ligt in those two centre-back positions. Luke Shaw at left back, moving into midfield. This is where you definitely need to buy one defensive midfielder, but Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo, then a three behind Benjamin Sesko with Ahmad or Brian Mbeumo. Of course, Bruno Fernandes in that free role, Matheus Cunha on the left wing and Benjamin Sesko on the right wing. Again, with Ahmad being on the bench, that's good impact. Tactically, this would work out really well for your setup. In terms of out of possession, I'd probably switch the centre forward to just be sitting in a centre forward position, maybe not tracking or being an outlet, but just sitting in a kind of halfway house position. The defensive midfielders, I'd probably suggest having one as a pressing midfielder, as we've got here in Kobbie Mainoo, and one as a more of a screening defensive midfielder. And then in terms of the wide players, leave it the same. Maybe move these two guys to pressing fullbacks. Again, this is a Gegenpressing strategy. You want to be squeezing high. This setup would really work for you if you want to set Man United up in a 4-2-3-1. But today, we are not going to do that. We are going to stick with Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3. So let's build an idea of a tactic. So first and foremost, Ruben Amorim is a vertical kind of tiki-taka manager. That's how I like to have my teams playing as well. So we'll go with that. In possession, we're going to be looking at a 3-4-3 wide. Out of possession, 3-4-3 wide as well. So let's move into be a little bit more creative in these positions. Again, probably for Man United, you want both of the wide players, sort of an inner possession perspective, to move into the inside positions. You want two attacking midfielders playing off a striker. I think building out Manchester United, one of the issues of playing this system and role is Matheus Cunha feels like the player that might miss out on this system and setup. Again, let's throw in another defender. Let's throw in big Harry Maguire. Build our back three of Lenny Yoro as a left centre-back. Right centre-back, De Ligt as a left centre-back, and Maguire in the middle. So one of the ideas with United, I think something that I would like to see them do in real life is step their centre-back into midfield and arguably create a midfield in possession. So that's going to be the idea of our tactic from the start. We're going to test out in pre-season and adapt. That's something you need to do on Football Manager. So we'll have two defensive midfielders holding in front of our back three. We'll have our centre-back maybe being an advanced centre-back to step up into defensive midfield. One ball-playing centre-back on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. Again, this could work quite well for Manchester United. But I just think building out the setup and system right now, maybe moving Luke Shaw into the left-sided centre-back position, and maybe Matthias de Ligt can be our player moving high. Because we've got to play Patrick Dorgu, because on Football Manager he's got great statistics for the wing-back position. The big thing that I look at wing-backs is the kind of the pace and the acceleration, vitally important, but great off-the-ball stats at 15, great work rate at 15, and good determination at 15. Dorgu is a really good wing-back on Football Manager at just 20 years old. In terms of our right wing-back, again, playing this system and setup allows us to get Amad Diallo into our starting lineup. From this position, I think in a possession perspective, we want to have these two players operating as wingers. These are the guys in the final third that are going to make things happen. Football Manager have slightly changed the winger role this season. The inverted winger and the winger is kind of the same position. Because if you play an inside winger that's operating more in a central position, as much as Amad Diallo could do that on the right-hand side, it's not going to be good for our shape and setup. So two wingers in those positions in an in-possession perspective that drop back into a full-back area. In terms of our front three, Benjamin Sesko once again will be a target forward. I think that's going to be great for use of his skill set. Look at his jump reach at 17, heading 15. We want to get him the ball in the box. He is our main goal scorer. He's massively overpowered on Football Manager, and he's someone you guys need to use and to really evolve. In terms of Bruno Fernandes, we're probably going to look at giving him the free role, but more on that later on. And maybe Brian Mbeumo, again, we need to play around in pre-season, but he's going to be our second striker. So looking at Manchester United's squad right now, again, we've got some holes in there. I think potentially we could look at a defensive midfielder. I think that's the first position we need to look at. Again, first choice for me would be Adam Wharton. I think on Football Manager, his passing and his vision makes him a very good player, but also got some really good player traits. Tries killer balls often, plays 1-2s, looks for the pass rather to score. He's a player that would really improve Manchester United in real life and on Football Manager. So definitely someone we're going to look at to sign. Of course, Carlos Baleba is another one. I think looking for Man United defensive midfielders, you want them to be young, but you also want them to have potential. Very different in terms of their styles. Baleba is more of that kind of ball-winning midfielder with his stamina, his strength, his composure, but also his tackling at 15, very, very good. So another very good option in there for defensive midfield. I think just looking from a recruitment perspective and building out what we can do here. If you want to change your budget, again, a key thing if this is first time playing Football Manager, you want to adjust it and you want to pull it to the left hand side to basically make the transfer budget big and your wage budget a bit less, to give you around, let's say 30 million quid. Let's drop a little bit of our wage budget in there. So in terms of defensive midfielders that you could look at for alternatives to Baleba or Adam Wharton, I think building a team out of younger players. So we're going to drop the age down to around 23. We're going to stick with that idea of recruiting young. Obviously, João Neves, if you manage to get a load of cash, is probably number one. I also like the look of Pavlovic. Again, love him in real life. I think he's a great footballer. That 17 passing, but also the vision of 15. Great stamina as well. And those mentals for a 21-year-old are really good. So he could be another option for your shortlist. Moving forward to another option who I like in real life, Sarr. Again, another physical beast. If you want to get a solid defensive midfielder in there, could do a job higher up the pitch as well. Very much a box-to-box athlete, someone that you can compare in big games with maybe a Baleba if you've got that cash. But there's just some options for you. Again, United have been linked with Elliot Anderson in real life. He's a fantastic midfielder, very all-rounded on Football Manager, but I think I'd prefer the other options to him right now, just because we probably need a defensively minded midfielder or a passing midfielder versus the energy that he could provide. I think just looking at the Manchester United squad as well, one of the things that I probably want to get and build out from is getting a utility guy, a guy that could play left wing, right wing, could play in the number 10 position, so we're going to have a look for that as well. But that's our overall tactical setup. That's some targets that you guys could bring in. So let's see what we did. So the summer transfer window has slammed shut, and I think we've done some very good business. All those requirements we had before, I think we've nailed it. Just in terms of the football, we're currently sat 6th in the Premier League. A good start, but we lost 2-1 to Arsenal on the opening day. A little bit frustrated. But tactically, I feel like I've learnt a bit. That game I should have played over the press versus playing through the press. That's a great addition to Football Manager's tactical system right now. You can do that. But let's take a look at what we did in the transfer market. First up, in terms of our sales, Mason Mount and Diogo Dalot both moved to Saudi Arabia Bolivia for a combined total of £90 million. We also sold some young players just to give us a little bit more budget. So first and foremost, who was the defensive midfielder we bought? We signed Carlos Bolivia for 55 million quid from Brighton. I think if his form continues on the pitch this season, United might be able to do that at the end of this season, but 55 million, absolute steal for Carlos Bolivia. I think it's going to be a really important part of our team, just in terms of holding midfield. That was an area that we are lacking this season, and Bolivia coming in is going to solve that problem. I think once again mentioned his strength and his stamina, really good things for defensive midfielders. Physical statistics for DMs is becoming even more important in the real game, but also very important in Football Manager. In terms of other signings, we bought Salamakers in from Italy as our utility guy. Look at that positional map. This guy can play everywhere. In Football Manager, I love players that can play left midfield, right midfield, attacking midfield. He's someone that can do it all. And I think he's got some good crossing, will give us good variation, coming on maybe more as a traditional winger for our right-hand side. We've got Amad Diallo who's going to cut in onto his left foot and drive and dribble. Sally Makers can go natural and play wide. In terms of our other two signings, again, Malacia just came back, but Lunin. In pre-season, we had a little bit of an issue with Manchester United's goalkeepers making errors. Senna Lemons, of course, in real life is brilliant. I love him as a goalkeeper. But it feels like Football Manager have done him a little bit dirty. He made a number of mistakes in pre-season. So we decided to sign Andre Lunin from Real Madrid. I think he's a solid keeper at 26 years old and will provide kind of that command in the first season. I think Le Mans long-term could be the number one. But right now, I've seen United struggle too many times with dodgy goalkeeping, and I can't allow it to happen to me in this game right now. So we did buy a goalkeeper. So let's move back to our squad, because we've made a few tactical tweaks in our system to really get the best out of our players. So first and foremost, the idea of playing an advanced centre-back, we've kind of tweaked where that is. We've also changed Kobbie Mainoo into a box-to-box playmaker. This is a new role in Football Manager this season. It's a bit like a roaming playmaker or a regista in the previous games. It's a player that's the heartbeat of their team. It allows them to be the creative outlet, both from deep and advanced areas. I wanted Mainoo to be a little bit more box to box with his creativity. Again, playing two defensive midfielders, again, it's solid. It allows you to really control games, and I thought, let's make it a little bit more exciting in the final third. The other change we made, as you can see, we've made our wing backs asymmetrical. That's having Amad Diallo operating as a winger higher up the pitch, and Dorgu being more of an advanced wing back than a winger. Again, in certain games, I will push both forward, I will push both back, but I just think this asymmetrical way here is going to work out well. Other thing you'd notice here, our crossing strategy now goes to the target forward, and that is basically all over the pitch. That's from both of our wing backs, but also our attacking midfielders. That's Bruno Fernandes and, of course, Brian Mbeumo. Basically, the idea, Mbeumo have not put it on there, so we need to just tweak that one as well for the target forward. The idea here is we basically want to be serving Benjamin Sesko all the chances. United have struggled over the years in terms of supplying centre forwards. I want that to change. Everyone looking for Sesko all the time. He is the goal scorer in our team. In terms of what we mentioned previously, our attacking midfield lineup, Bruno Fernandes in a free role. We've adapted the player instructions to put in move into the channels, run from position and take more risks. He is the hub of our team. The free role is basically like a trequartista in previous games, the heartbeat of the team, given the full creative license. What I like about Football Manager now is you can play a trequartista, but you can make them do work out of possession. And again, that's kind of what I like. I like having players that you can really, utilise in a creative sense, but give them dogged defensive responsibility. Previously, the trequartista basically gave up off the ball, but now we want Bruno Fernandes to work hard from a possession perspective. So that's our overall setup. Let's have a look at the team instructions to get a better idea of how it plays through the thirds. So in possession, we kind of build in a 3-2-5 structure. We're trying to, force the opponents to press us. Again, one of the big things that you can do, in terms of in possession, is you can play over the press. This is something that I'm going to be doing to Benjamin Sesko, maybe in these bigger games against the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I know they're going to squeeze high. We're just going to play over the top and play the ball over the top to the centre-back, as Man United have done in the Premier League this season against Liverpool to great effect. But that's just a little tactical thing we'll adapt. We move to our middle third. Just notice the position of Lenny Yoro. So basically, what we'll see in build-up is the 3. As we move through the thirds, Lenny Yoro basically creates a box midfield with Belieber. Why we've done that is because we want to have a little bit of balance on this right-hand side. We're quite offensive on the right. And Bumo's playing as a second striker. He's going to be making a lot of attacking runs, basically playing as our second forward. And Amad Diallo as a winger is going to be super high. So I felt we needed a little bit of, a player that can control the space on that side. We looked at playing maybe a wide centre-back, but I felt like an advanced centre-back worked a bit better just for our build-up. It also allows Kobbie Mainoo to move really high in the final third and really create almost a 4-2-3-1 structure, or kind of the Ruben Amorim shape and setup where he has the 3 midfielders, because obviously Fernandes in real life plays this role into that advanced area, the 2 attacking mid. So this is kind of our setup right now, just looking at all of our instructions. In possession, again, we're looking shorter passing, standard tempo. We're going to play through the press, work the ball into the box, focus on low crosses as well, just because we've got a lot of wide forwards in there. The players will also just lob the ball into the box just because of our setup with looking for our target forward, but I want kind of the low crossing for the likes of Mbeumo, Bruno Fernandes and so forth. Out of possession, of course, you're going to play high press. I wouldn't play any other way, and that is how we're going to do that. So that's some screenshots for you there, guys, but that's what we've got so far. So let's see where we get to. So we are in February, and we can see by recent results we've just smoked Arsenal 3-0, which leads us joint top of the Premier League. I don't think this could have gone any better. Well, we could be top 5 points clear, but who's asking? In terms of our recruitment, obviously for the January window, we were a little bit busy. We made some moves in terms of centre-backs. I think, looking at the players that left the club, Harry Maguire joined Newcastle for around 3.9 million, and we signed Evan Ndika from Roma, who is absolutely disgusting. Anticipation, bravery, determination, the stamina, the strength, the jump reach, and the tackling, all super important for centre-backs on Football Manager. I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad and gives us another option to play in our back 3. Again, I think a super signing. In terms of tactics, we've also added another tactic to our setup. Got a bit more of a 3-5-2. Spoke about kind of building this one out. So we're looking at a target forward with a channel forward. Our midfield setup, very aggressive from a possession perspective. We've got an advanced playmaker and an attacking midfielder in Bruno Fernandes. Again, asymmetrical wing backs and a back 3 once again with that advanced centre back stepping into midfield. So just from a build up structure. 3-5-2 out the back. Middle third, again, we've got that box midfield, but also kind of a double box in there of our attacking midfield lineup as well. Salamaker's super high on the right, Dorgu. But I think the big thing is having those 2 centre forwards allows us to be better kind of out of possession. And this tactic is a little bit more direct. So, just looking at the team instructions, from an all instructions perspective. We've got standard pass directness from short before. Our tempo is a lot higher, and we're also bypassing the press. This is more of a direct strategy in these bigger matches. Notably against Arsenal, we use this setup to really good effect. But again, we're in such a good position. Second in the Premier League, just on goal difference. It is time for a second half of the season title charge. And you know what happened? We charged to that title, 82 points. First season with Manchester United, winning the Premier League, pipping Spurs, Liverpool and Man City to the title in the first season. But also, we don't stop there. Not only did we win the Premier League, but we also battered Chelsea in the Carling Cup final to win the double. Just in terms of kind of how our style and system works, let's take a look at one of these goals. Dorgu's assist for Benjamin Sesko in that final. Once again, we started to build real rhythm, creating for our big centre forward in Benjamin Sesko. It is a prime example of kind of how our system and setup works. Obviously, we've got the centre back inverting into midfield. Mainoo's dropping a little bit deeper. Then he's going to roam and be this box-to-box playmaker with, of course, Carlos Belieber sitting deep. But the big thing is the threat on the last line from the wing backs, and we can see this build up shape and structure gets us to the final third into a crossing position. We've got 3 forwards attacking the box and Matt on the far side, and look at this ball from Patrick Dorgu to get Benjamin Sesko the second goal of the game. What a result. What a performance. What a season. In terms of how our squad kind of evolved and in terms of our best players, Benjamin Šeško really evolved in the second half of the season and scored a lot of goals. He was our joint top scorer with Bruno Fernandes in this free roll. I tell you right now, the free roll could be overpowered in Football Manager. Bruno Fernandes finished the season with 40 goal involvements, 29 goals and 11 assists. Benjamin Šeško finishing with 29 goals as well. But more importantly, what I like about this system and setup is where the assists came from. It came from Patrick Dorgu at wing-back with 15 and Amad Diallo with 14 as a right winger. Also 11 goals. That winger position is pretty disgusting, and we might move back to 2 wingers all the time next season. But I also like that our creativity came from our 2 number 10s as well, in Brian Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes. But a great season, and next season, it's all about winning the Champions League. So in terms of players and depth, I think looking forward, just jumping into our shortlist, we've got 4 players on there. Number 1, a backup striker in Samu. Again, we need a bit more of another option off the bench in terms of a physical target man. We've got a lot of players to sell. Joshua Zirkzee going to be going, so bringing someone like Samu in as a centre forward. He's got great jump reach, good strength, and 15 heading as well, so it'll be a great backup centre forward for Benjamin Šeško. Nico Paz is going to be our Bruno Fernandes replacement long term. Bruno had an unbelievable season, but we need to look for the future and bring in Nico Paz in, who can dribble as well as do all the things Bruno can do. The long shots, the passing, the technique, the free kicks. Nico Paz is our number 1 option. He's got some great attributes, or traits should I say here. Arrives late in the penalty area, plays 1-2s, comes deep to get on the ball, places shots, tries killer balls. He is someone that I think you need to buy in Football Manager. A star player that's going to be Bruno Fernandes in our system and setup. Bouadi as well from Lille, a player that I really like in real life. We're going to bring him in as well to give a bit more youth for our central midfield area. Could fill in for Kobbie Mainoo, but also Baliba at DM. And we've been monitoring Rodrigo Moore as well. He's a player I love in real life. Not quite evolved in Football Manager yet in terms of his development, but a player that we could sign and be a long-term option. Other things that we need to look at for next season, I think from a recruitment perspective, just looking at our database, I think we need to sign potentially a left wing back who could, really evolve, our side. I think looking at someone like Grimaldo would be the ideal number 1, 30 years old. So he'd come in and kind of be that veteran player to Patrick Dorgu, although Dorgu did so well, could be a great option. Or alternatively, looking at someone like Miguel Gutierrez, again, the delivery into the box. I want something slightly different on that left-hand side. Dorgu's kind of that pacey wing-back. I want a little bit of crossing flair and delivery into the penalty area. But overall, I think it was a very successful season, getting the best out of Bruno Fernandes as a number 10 and feeding Benjamin Šeško, led to the Premier League title. Next season, we're going for the quadruple. But anyway, guys, that is how to set Manchester United up on Football Manager 26. Let me know how your save is going below. What formation are you playing? What signings did you bring in? And maybe get in as well. Do you want me to return to Twitch to stream some Football Manager live? I've been Statman Dave. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?